Baked cowboy crack dip. Hot or cold, this dip will vanish quickly. Excellent for game day, for movie night, for card night, or any gathering. This dip is hearty, smoky, zesty, meaty, creamy, cheesy, spicy. Need I say more? Cowboys love this dip. And I know you're going to like this recipe. And when you do, you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit notifications so that you get all of our recipes as they post. Now, let's stir the pot. So why do they call this cowboy crack dip? Well, when I think of cowboys, I think of campfires, smoky flavor, a little bit of spice. So that's what this dip will have in it to represent a cowboy. As far as the crack, well, it's addictive. So I would assume that that's why they call it crack. Cowboys have got to have their meat. So we'll be adding 8 ounces of ground beef to a frying pan. We're just going to brown this. You'll want to spread this out on your pan so that it all cooks evenly. And you will want to chop it up, crumble it, if you will say. And I am using my handy dandy meat chopper. This is all browned up and it's chopped up to the way that I want it. If you want smaller, you make yours smaller. If you want larger, you do that. We were using ground sirloin, so you'll see that it's very little grease in here. If you're using a meat that would render off more grease, you'd probably want to strain this. I'm going to set this over to the side and we're going to move on to cutting up some veggies. Cowboys got to have their coffee early in the morning, so cheers. We are going to need ½ a cup of green onions, and you'll want to chop these up finely, or finely chopped. Poblano peppers, one of my favorite ingredients when I'm doing something smoky. It brings that additional flavor that you're looking for in this cowboy dip. I'm going to use about a quarter of this poblano, and I will de-seed it and finely chop. Our last vegetable that we'll put in this cowboy crack dip is going to be a jalapeno. We'll use about ½ of this. You can use less or more depending on the heat that your cowboys like. We will also de-seed this one. Actually, if you'll watch the cut here, I don't actually de-seed it. I take a lazy approach to this and I just cut it off. And again, this will be also finely diced. This is finely diced. I'm going to add this to the same bowl that I had added the onions and the poblano to. Guys, if the cooking police is out there and you're wondering why I'm using this knife, it's because those big knives will cut a finger off. We're going to need some cheese for this cowboy crack dip. We are using a sharp cheddar, but not just any sharp cheddar. This is one that we have cold smoked, and it will definitely bring the cowboy to this cowboy crack dip. Check out the end. I'll put a link to show you how to cold smoke your cheese. We're going to be grating this on a box grater. We only need ½ a cup, so it won't take us too long. Our cheese is grated, and guys, the smokiness on this cheese is just making my mouth water. I'm going to clean the table up. I'm going to come back with my bowl so we can start stirring this together. Now is a fine time to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. We'll add 8 ounces of cream cheese to a bowl. This has been sitting out at room temperature. And then we're going to add ½ a cup of sour cream. Next goes in ½ a cup of corn. This is frozen corn, and I have drained it so we didn't have any extra water there. And also we are going to need, I'm going to start adding some of our spices. I need a dash of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. I'm going to also need a little bit of smoked pepper. You can use any pepper that you have in your house. To bring some extra smokiness to this cowboy crack dip, I'm going to be adding a little bit of smoked paprika. That's one of my favorite spices in the cabinet. And a little bit more heat. We need some cayenne. Add this to your own taste, or you can omit it completely. It will still be delicious. We will add 1 can of rotel tomatoes with chilies. Now we need to start stirring this up, and then we're going to add our cheese and our veggies last. In comes our veggies, our cheese, and our hamburger or ground beef. Stir it all together. This is all mixed up, and guys, you can eat it just like this. It doesn't have to be baked, but baked I find is much better when that cheese gets all melty. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this, and then we're going to put it in the baking dish. Give it a quick stir. Should I? Absolutely. That's good. Let me get that baking dish. So here we go into our baking dish. Guys, we're not going to bake all of it right now. This dip will make enough for at least 5 hungry cowboys. If you need more than that, just double the recipe. The recipe will be down in the description. We're going to put this on a baking dish or a baking cookie sheet so it's easy in and out of the oven. This is going in the Breville Smart Pro oven. This thing does everything, and I am so in love with it. It'll be there for 30 minutes. Our Cowboy crack dip is done, and look at how bubbly that top is. All the cheese is melted. That smokiness, it smells delicious. We're going to let this cool for a moment, then we're going to serve it up to our Cowboys. I have this all ready to serve to my Cowboys. They are going to love this on game day. I'm going to put a little of the onions on top of this just to bring a little bit more freshness to it. This is going to be a delicious bite. All of your Cowboys are going to love this. As with everything in Stir the Pot Kitchen, the cook has to taste it before it is served. So here goes. Oh my goodness. I know why they call this stuff crack. It is zesty. It is meaty. It is smoky. It is creamy. It is everything that was promised of this dip. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this recipe. And if you did, you give us a thumbs up. You subscribe and hit notifications so that you get all of our recipes as they post. And until next time, stir the pot.